Hello again, students. In this video, I would be talking about the assessment of knowledge and skills quiz. Let me remind you about our assessment structure. And the knowledge and the skills quiz make up 20% of the final weightage. Now, let me tell you that the number of the quiz is not fixed and it can be one or two per unit depending upon the length of the unit. In sciences, usually in the middle school and high school, there's a trimester system. So the teachers give only one quiz. But for example, in maths and ICT, you might have more than one quiz. Now, how is it assessed? Let me show you a few examples of this. Now, let us go back to the unit where I talked about, if you remember, in my last video, I talked about this unit from molecules to organisms, life science, unit 1. And we talked about these knowledge, structure and function, and we talked about these skills, developing and using models, engaging in argument for evidence, and planning and carrying out investigations. Now, if you have a look at the quiz, okay, if you see in this document, all these skills are, all these things are mentioned, but not necessary. Your quiz can have only the questions. So there is no fixed pattern on this. So the planning and carrying out investigations, and the knowledge is structure and function. So you see the questions are based on that. The other skill was developing and using models. So you see that the student has to use the model and answer the questions. Another skill was engaging in argument from evidence. So you see that the student has to support the claim with reasoning. Okay, so now how is this scored? Using this rubric, which has a scale from 0 to 4. The rubric, if you see, is actually the breaking down of the knowledge into smaller components as well as the skill. So if the student has attempted all the three parts correctly, which is identifying the correct type of microscopic tool or justify the choice made and list all the expected observations. So this is the knowledge and the skill broken down. The other criteria was able to use provided model. So if you remember, it is in coherence with the skill ability to use and develop the models. And if you see criteria 3, convincingly connect the evidence using the convincingly connect the evidence to the claim using reasoning, so justifying the claim. So if you see that the rubric is in coherence with the knowledge and skills of this unit, that's what we are trying to assess. Let us look at another example, and let me remind you that we talked about the knowledge and skills of this unit, value of art and poetry, where the skill was to use figurative language effectively, write their own poetry, critically reading literature, drawing parallels between different poems, and the knowledge was definitions of various forms of figurative language, definitions of poetic terms. Now let us have a look at the knowledge and skills quiz of this unit. So the student is supposed to read the poem and complete the analysis chart. Then he has to analyze. So what does this tell you about the attitude towards humans and nature? Cite 2 lines that support your analysis. So justifying the claim, then what do these lines mean and how do they support your analysis? So if you see, the skill justifying the claim is common between the two subjects. However, the knowledge used is different, and but so in for answering the questions of this quiz, the student would use the knowledge of English, whereas for this he would use the knowledge of science. Now let us have a look at another quiz. So this is a quiz from Maths, grade 9, S1U1, Linears, Equations, Inequality Systems. Okay, these are the questions. Okay, if you see, this is one quiz which would be given to certain classes. This is another quiz which would be given to different classes of the same grade level. So if you see, the questions are different, but actually the skills that are being assessed is the same in both the units. I mean both the quizzes. So if you see, the skills of identifying